Hello, Pisces. Thank you for tuning into your love read. For the main part of the read, for this segment, I'm still going to use the Witch's Tarot by Ellen Dugan, illustrated by Mark Evans. And for the supportive cards, the Angel Answers Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. We'd switch them up soon, but for your read, I think we're going to still use it. Relationship first, singles second. That is 6. There's a double card there. And there's another one. So, stop. Yes. Face down, face up. Face down, face up. Face up. Stop. Okay, so kind of getting like a reacting feel here. What's keeping the situation where it is, you have the Ten of Cups, which is hiding the Two of Swords. So what's keeping the situation where it is you're feeling like you're feeling very loved, very happy, you're enjoying social connections that are connected with your partner, social times with your partner. There's like a family feel here. Could be very much a friend, community type feel like that. There's definitely a social connection with your partner that you're enjoying with them. Whether it be family or friends, you're doing things socially with your partner, and you're loving that. But there's something that's causing a deadlock here with the Two of Swords. So even though on the outside, and for the most part, you're enjoying times, it seems like there's a lot of social things that are taking up your time with your partner. I don't feel like there's a lot of one-on-one time. I feel like it's mostly spent with you and your partner hanging out with other people, like in a group setting. Okay. But there's a deadlock feeling underneath. So let's keep that in mind going forward. There is a face-down card for the Oracle cards. Excuse me. That's the first time I've done it today. Here we go. But we'll keep that for later because I feel like that's not explaining what we're starting with. I feel like this is something in the future. So let's see how that goes. Now, this seems to be also explaining why you're having that reaction. Your partner, how they're handling things. The Temperance card, which is, there's a Patience on the front here. But what's under that is the Three of Pentacles. So they're working on something here. So something is going on with them. But I feel like what you're seeing is a lot of patience. A lot of patience is what you're experiencing. But there's a lot going on deeper on the deeper in the surface. Deeper under the surface. There we go. Now, where are we going with this is my question. Because I did see this card, so I'm going to say this. With the Ten of Cups and the Two of Swords, which seem to be keeping the situation where it is, you also have within the next few months. So I feel like you're up for some changes that are going to take a few months to actually take hold. But this seems to be something that's going to go over the next few months for you. And I feel like the social connections is really what it's saying here. You have a lot of social plans and social gatherings, social events with your partner for the next few months. Things seem to be locked in for the next few months. Okay. Your partner, with a lot going on in the Temperance here, their Oracle card that was face down is Meditation Brings Answers. They have a lot of thoughts going on here. So something's going on with them. I don't feel like you realize what they're working on. And they're thinking, and I feel like they're really going through. They're going through what they're expecting with this relationship. Is this directly with you? I'm not really getting if this is directly with you or something else. Like, what is going on with you in relation to them? Like, something seems like, I'm like, are we heading towards something, or is this something outside of the relationship? Hasn't really settled in yet. Because I'm also getting with you, you got the Ten of Pentacles. I feel like you're happy in this relationship. You're feeling very safe and secure, which is good. I'm noticing that the next card that comes in, though, is the Five of Pentacles. kind of feeling left out in the cold, but still feeling, well, it's Five of Pentacles. Like half of what you usually have is lost. Being a Pisces, I'm like, where is this going? I'm single, so I guess, but still, being from a Pisces perspective, I'm just like, what are we saying here? Because if you're in a good mood and you're happy and you're feeling stable, then all of a sudden you're left with half. I mean, it seems like, and you know, on the other side, I'm seeing on your partner side the Two of Wands. Yes, Two of Wands. That's usually a travel card. That's usually a leaving card. I didn't want to see it that way, but I'm starting to see it more and more that way. Because you're left with half here. They seem to be moving on. This is seeming to be where this is going. And I'm also noticing currently, like what's matching your Ten of Cups, which is keeping the situation where it is the Three of Cups, social gatherings, social happiness. Farrell! So the social connection seems to be working in your favor for you and your partner. That seems to be tying everything together, but once that seems to be cooling down or moving on, it seems like that's going to, like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot built up in the social connections, but your partner otherwise is looking elsewhere. Now, granted, it is a general read, so keep that in mind. So it doesn't have to mean the whole thing hits for you, but I'm seeing like there's a High Priestess in your partners where they stand as the High Priestess. They take the good with the bad. They consider the reconsider on the front of it means I feel like they were going to stick with this situation, but they're starting to have thoughts that, you know, maybe this isn't the right situation for them. And I feel like they have the Four of Swords in their spiritual spot, which is kind of like holding their ground, not saying too much before they want to, keeping their position where they want it to be. The Four of Swords to me is holding your ground a lot of times, especially in this card, because I feel like someone's kind of like standing guard in a sense, like they have things that they have that they don't want to share, and they just want to kind of like hold their position. They don't want to be forced one way or the other. And I feel like that's what they're saying here. They're like standing. Currently, they're in a position where they're not really sure, but I do see in the future, especially with the Two of Wands, that they're going to make a decision to kind of move on. And I get another card, the Eight of Wands, and what moves the situation forward. There's a quick decision, a quick change. Like I feel like there's a quick change here. It just seems to be like all of a sudden, like there's your partner holds back, and then makes a quick decision to move on, and then does. Like, I feel like they were trying to hold the situation like it was the right thing to do, but all of a sudden there's this moment where they reconsider, and they make a quick decision, and they move on. Now, I'm getting with the Five of Pentacles. You have the Five. Is that the Five? Yep. The Five of Cups with your Five of Pentacles, which makes me really feel like this is really hard for you, which would not be shocking, especially with the past here. You're feeling like, you know, kind of left out in the cold. I feel like you're not really understanding why this is happening, why your partner is moving on. Because even though you're aware that there's a deadlock, I don't feel like you expected this to happen. But I'm also seeing like there might be something else with the deadlock here in the past. I feel like there might have been like a problem emotionally between the two of you anyway, if this reading is hitting. Like, these are general reads, so not all of them will hit for everybody, but if this is hitting for you, I am really thinking there's a deadlock from the past where even though you didn't expect this and maybe not what you want, it might not be the worst thing in the world for you in the long run. Especially when I'm seeing the Moon card for where you're standing, the situation will improve. Like, I feel like it's really hard to deal with when it happens, but when the situation will improve pops up right with that, it's kind of feeling like, you know what, this might be for the best anyway. That, and you have the Magician with the no need to worry. I feel like the Magician, with what's moving things forward, with the no need to worry, I feel like this is talking about like finances and being taken care of and like having a social connection with other people. I don't feel like anything is really like your partner's stepping out of your life is what I'm catching on. It's a general read, so take it for what it is. Like if everything is matching, it looks that way. But I mean, it's a general read. With the Magician and the no need to worry, like things are gonna work out for you in the long run, especially financially. I don't feel like you're in a position where you have to worry in that sense. You do end up with like from 10 pentacles to 5 pentacles, but I don't feel like you're still in a painful spot in that sense. The Magician with the no need to worry is like you have a lot at your disposal, which you can make the situation go a lot better, go to your benefit at the very least. Now, I just want to be sure here if there's anything I missed. Because I am noticing within the next few months, and I'm wondering if this is actually going to go out the next few months, or if there's plans going out the next few months with friends. Because I don't feel like this lasts through this whole situation. Like, if you have plans going on with friends, as long as you have plans, you're fine. I don't feel like that's true. But I do feel like your partner seems to be on the same level with you, planning these things, agreeing to these things, but then somewhere along the road they have an about face and they're just like, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And it feels like it's quick, especially with the Eight of Wands. It feels like it's quick. They take things in their own hands and they move on. I feel like this whole thing, if this is hitting for you and this is like in the beginning stages, it's more about planning. It's more about trying to get a little closer and to see if this is really where you stand. Especially with a general read. If you're feeling this is happening with your partner and you don't want it to happen, this is the time to get more communication in there. More time to look at things a little deeper. Just to like, is there a problem? Is there not? Because maybe this general read is just so you take a closer look and realize this isn't really completely connecting for you. And that way you can find out how your partner really feels. If you really feel there's a deadlock from the past and you maybe need to work through. Or if it is heading this direction, if it is heading for the split up here, then maybe you need to just look at it in a way to empower you and, to be ready for it, to have more things in line so you can handle this a lot easier when that moment occurs. So hopefully one way or the other, if this hits for you, it gives you a position to prepare yourself and be stronger and ready to go forward when necessary. All right, that's what we have for the Pisces relationship. Let's do Pisces single. Let's see what we got there for you guys. Which I'm a Pisces single at the moment, so let's see how. Although, also subject to the general rule, just because it's a Pisces read doesn't mean it's always for me. I actually find that if I read for myself, I do pretty well, but which is shocking. Usually, I guess people have hard times reading for themselves. I don't get details, but when it comes to my own general reads, it doesn't follow my life, I found, which is, 6/2. You come towards the messages you're meant to know when you're meant to know them, if that makes sense. So Pisces single. What do we have for empowering information for Pisces single? Got a couple. That's a triple card there. Stop. Okay. They're telling me no with the oracle, so we'll leave it with what it is and go from there. Now Pisces. Pisces single. You got the history card here for where you're standing. I'm feeling a lot of times when it comes to relationships, especially where this card is hitting, you're worried about a cycle, you're worried about a repeat. And the reason I'm saying that also is because your mind, your thoughts are the shadow card, which is the shadow side, which is the devil card in most decks. Now, tarot decks. Now, I want to say this is your thoughts, which I feel like this is fear-based. You're afraid you're going to repeat a pattern. You're afraid you're going to get into something that you've done before and you don't want to do it again. You don't want to end up running into a brick wall face first at, breakneck speeds, however that is. So there's some worry about this. That seems to be where you're standing. Memories with fears overlaying them. of what has happened before, repeating something. Because somebody around you, and I have this King of Swords, they're very vocal, but they're not telling you the whole story. They're not. I don't feel like they're. I don't know. It's more like letting people know what they need to know when they need to know it. They like to. It's kind of like a poker face feeling going on here. But I feel you're taking it in a sense of like, you know what, this could be a good sign that things aren't right. The base of this situation is that the High Priest? Yes, it is. High Priest, and they have the Wheel of the Year, which is reminiscent of the Wheel of Fortune. A lot of times I see the Wheel of the Year, though, a little differently than the Wheel of Fortune, in the sense of like it's about cycles. Which I feel like that's another thing you're worried about. Like, what type of cycle? Am I repeating a cycle? Am I repeating a cycle, or are you going into a new cycle? That's the question. Because you're seeing the High Priest here is like, tradition seems to say that you're going through the same thing again. You're just starting up another round of the same situation. It's like, oh, spring again, let's do this, or what are we? We're going into fall. It's fall again. Here we go into this type of stuff. Time for pumpkins. Woo! And then you're like, but I don't like pumpkins. So, that's the base of it. Like, feeling like you're going, you're emotionally connecting that you're heading towards another cycle. You're just questioning if you're repeating the same thing again, or if you've learned something and you're moving into the next level. Like, have you gone up a level and you're going to do something better now, or are you still in the same rut? Is the question. You got the Magician in your overall energy, which seems to me that you're choosing to either get in or get out of something. You seem to be in this power position. I feel like you're pulling this towards you. I feel like you're more actively pursuing this person, which is another reason why I'm feeling like they're not telling you everything, because I feel like they have their own concerns and their own situations to deal with, and before they get too involved, they're seeing, you know, how much they can rely on you to actually be there in the future. Okay. Two of Wands. You get the Two of Wands here, and it's going into the Three of Cups with the Page of Pentacles. Oh, it's the Page of Pentacles. I was seeing this, I'm going to show it to you. In the background, I thought that was like some, I don't know what that is. I think it's a white deer, but it could be some type of goat thing. I really don't know. Either way, I'm really centered on the grazing aspect here. In the sense of like, I feel what we're talking about is there's a lot of social activity here, and there's a lot of like passive connection with this person. Like, if they're there, great. If they're not, fine. And even when they are around, you just kind of flit around them and talk a little bit, but you don't get too deeply involved. That's kind of what I'm getting. And the Two of Wands makes me feel like you might be considering moving on from this situation, because you're worried about this pattern starting again. This seems to be where you're centered. Like, there's a lot of social connections, but you're grazing, you're just passively around this person. And I feel like you're slowly moving on or considering it. You might just be considering it because you're worried about this pattern. And I feel it's the fear that's getting you to move on. The question is, should you be? Now, I'm getting the Ten of Cups in your past, which is influencing this situation. But I'm also noticing, which is very rare for this card, because it's a positive card, I feel like you've been involved in good situations before, but you've been like so close but not all the way in. I feel like with this card especially, it's saying like, you know, you were almost there. You were enjoying it, things looked really good, but it just never fully connected. I'm getting like, you see the back of the people waving towards the rainbow. I'm seeing the back of that one person in the ring of people. I'm feeling like you were almost into it, but it just never clicked the full way in for whatever reason. And I feel like this is kind of what you're worried about. Like it got so far before, or there's some pattern with something similar to this where it got so close, it got really almost there, and then it just never made that next step forward. It just never got there. And I feel like that's one of the reasons you're kind of walking away now. Is because you're like, you know what, before I spend time pining on a person, trying to make something go forward, because I feel like you did this before, you tried to make something go forward and you were patient. If they said, no, not for now, you're like, all right, maybe later. And you kept circling around waiting, it just never seemed to go any further. You're like, before I do this again, how about I just don't? Which is, again, the magician and your overall energy. Like, you might be deciding, you know what, I'm not going to do this circle around and wait pattern. I'm not going to do the circling to land thing. Like, you know what, if you don't really know if you want me to land, maybe I should just go on to another airport. Because, you know what, I'm not going to circle here forever until I'm out of gas and I crash. Like, there's no point. So I do feel like at this point you're considering moving on. Or I feel like you're slowly moving on. Going into the future, I'm noticing the Six of Pentacles with this Nine of Swords. I feel like this person, when you start moving on, they kind of move towards you. And then you're like, but it's not enough. Like it's like you're getting some interest back, but you're questioning. You're feeling like this is just keeping you bound to the situation, but it's still not moving forward. Because I'm noticing it's the Six of Pentacles. It's not like a love card. It's not a cup card. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not somebody inviting with love. I feel like this is somebody just like acknowledging that they like you around. And it's tying you in, because I feel like those feelings you're having for this person, like they kind of flare up again, if you will. And you're just like, I was moving on from this. I feel like it's kind of perplexing. Now, I do have one card face down, which is the Nine of Cups. While it's holding you back a little bit, keeping you from moving on, the face down says you might not be realizing how much you really like this person's attention. And I feel like part of you really does like it. You might not realize at this point, might be part of it, that that's what you do want them to show you attention. I feel like the problem is it's not enough to really say they want to start possibly seeing you, or they start dating in a sense where you could head towards something where you're both obviously trying to find out if there's a connection here. I feel like the Nine of Cups makes me feel, especially because it's face down, like you do enjoy it. You do like the attention. You do like this person. And those feelings are still there. And I feel like you do very much, like, it feels good when they come towards you. I'm getting that strongly. Like, it does. But I feel like as that moment moves on, you're just kind of like, you know what, this is just keeping me stuck in the same situation. You're having that fear again. Now, I do see after this, your final card is the Nine of Pentacles. This is somebody very comfortable and happy. So I feel like as this first comes through, you're thinking it's not enough. But I am getting some pentacle energy here. It's 9 and it's the 6, which is kind of like it's multiplying. I feel like as it goes forward, this person continues to show you some respect or interest. I don't know why the words respect comes forward, but interest. And I feel like it's kind of getting a little more intense. Not overwhelmingly, but you're noticing some more interest towards you. Almost in the sense that as you backed off, they realized you were backing off and they decided they didn't want that. And it's coming towards you again. I do feel with the Nine of Pentacles, it's like whatever started here with the Six of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords, which you were like, this isn't enough, and it's just kind of locking me here. It's kind of making me feel stuck because I do have feelings for this person. You're noticing that that wasn't just a one-time thing. Like, they're continuing to show you favor. They're continuing to show interest, and maybe it's just inching forward little by little, but you're starting to notice they're more interested. Because at this point, it seems like it's growing. The thing is, from here, does it continue to grow? Because I am seeing the Nine of Pentacles is you're happy because you're seeing some improvement here. I'm honestly getting you're going to have to watch from this point on. Does it plateau, or does it continue, or does it diminish? You're really going to have to pay attention. I feel like that's what's going to happen from here. If this reading's hitting for you, based on your situation, does it continue to grow, does it plateau, or does it diminish? If it continues to grow, I feel like that's exactly what you want. If it plateaus, I think you're going to have to look at it a little closer, like why is it plateauing? And if it's diminishing, I feel like you're going to be back at square one where you're going to walk away. So I feel like it depends, like if you get this far, like whatever came around, this is the point I'm trying to make. Whatever came around you felt like wasn't enough. Like if it was like somebody you're interested in texts you just to see what you're doing. As it keeps going in the future, are they just texting you now and then to see how you're doing, like just chit-chat things? Or are they inviting you to things? Are they getting more involved in your life? Are they telling you more about their life? Like, is it going up, or is it just plateauing, like every now and then they just shoot you a text? Like, is it plateauing in that sense? And is it diminishing, like, all right, so they sent me a text and now they're acknowledging me more when I see them out, but like, is it diminishing? You know what I mean? You gotta pay attention. If it's not growing, like if it's not going to this Nine of Pentacles, then it's not, I feel like you are stuck in that cycle and you still might have to go back and move on from it. But if it's like, for example, the text example, if it starts off with a text, how are you doing? And then they're like, you know, maybe we could hang out sometime, or like it's growing from there. Like instead of a text, maybe they're starting to call you, they're getting involved in your life, you know, you're inviting them places, or they're inviting you places and you're hanging out, things like that. If it's progressing ever so slowly but still progressing, then that's good. Then you're headed in a good direction. I feel like you got to be very careful with this card though. I feel like you got to be careful in the sense of like, if this is happening, do you feel like it's getting better, or is it getting better? That's what you're looking for. And if it's progressing, even though it's slow, it's still good. You're headed in the right direction. If it's plateauing, and then they got your attention out of the blue, but they just keep doing the same thing, and it's not really going farther than that, you're still stuck in that pattern, probably. You have to look at your own life, of course, and you might want to still walk away from it. But if it's progressing, you want to keep it going that way, because I feel like you like this person, this is going in a good direction. All right, I feel like we finally hit the button on that, so I'm going to let it go there. Of course, if you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, james4astral@gmail.com, james4astral@gmail.com. Thank you.